regular NASA event, or do the HPDEs, and a lot of people start out that way. And just like you said, if you know that you can have this coming, you have a tendency to, well, I'm not going to play on the street now because I know that I've got to release for this passion of mine and for this desire, 3 weeks away.
Or you don't want to break your car so that you make it to the event too.
Right, that's right, exactly.
And it's interesting because there's a big void in sports car road racing. The other club, the Secret Club,
right.
Those guys basically purpose-built race car. They do have some events that are like a hot drive, but they're not affiliated with any of their racing weekends. You're
right.
essentially by yourself doing your drive around the track. Well, you got to kind of shoehorn everything in so that the Porsche club's out there or the Porsches are racing, and next thing you know, you got a hyperdrive. So you're on the same track, you get this real racy feeling, whereas doing something else on the track like this, it's just kind of like more driver instruction, and you're not really getting a feel for being part of a race event where you are with NASA.
Well, and that's there's no question about it. That is one of our biggest drawing points to a NASA event, is the fact that we're the two actually road racing, true road racing, and these HPD schools on the same weekend. So we have the ability to, if you're doing on the HPDs and you're not in class or you're not on the track getting your instruction, you get the opportunity to go out there and be a spectator for the racing that's going on. And the great part is that if you race a Mustang, or if you're doing an HPD in a Mustang, you can walk over to 20 other racers right there who've already figured out what all the inexpensive tricks are, already figured out what parts really do work and what don't work, and you get that information from them and save you a lot of time and money as you're coming up into the sport.
And secondly, as a part of that, you go out there and try your best to get your fastest lap on the track. You learn some of those tricks from the guys that are already in the trade. Watch the real racers go out and watch them go around the track for the afternoon in the real racing event.
Sure.
And that just shows chance to try it, and then you get the chance to watch the professionals do it. It just makes a
what really got me was that was the first time I'd seen competitive drifting. Okay.
Right.
And I know the carousel at some point was just, the fence was just littered with people.
Sure.
And it actually, in my opinion, got to be the highlight of the weekend. And I was really surprised by that people of all ages, mine included, drifted to the fence to watch the drifters come around there, especially in tandem. And it was kind of like, wow, this is pretty wild, pushing a car to an edge like that. Do you see it becoming a bigger and bigger part of the Hyperfest weekend?
Well, really, as a piece of history here, the first pro event in the United States actually was Hyperfest, and JR was one of our competitors.
No kidding.
Von Gittin was one of our competitors during that event, and it is very big. I mean, it's one of the of the event, and I mean, Falcon as a sponsor, as Falcon US Drift Nationals, and ads, as well as Mazda. I mean, these guys really support this. So yes, I mean, I think the drifting is very strong. It's very, very fan friendly, and so it's just another one of those pieces of the Hyperfest. So that when people say to me all the time, when you walk in, I walk in at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I feel like even at 9 o'clock at night, I haven't seen everything.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to see.
I mean, I felt that way. We worked a booth there, and geez, we only saw 20% of the entire event.
Right.
Some of which I didn't understand, by the way, but it was pretty cool anyway.
Just give me a call. I can interpret for you.
And I think that what Hyperfest is more importantly, what drifting's doing for the road racing crowd is it's bringing the fan back to the track. It's giving them something that they can watch. And with a drifting event, you can see this event from start to finish because they don't use the whole track. So you get a set section of track that they can actually watch the entire event from start to finish. And that's what fans want. I think that's what spectators want in motorsports. They want to be able to see that. So I think it is doing its job of bringing the spectator back to the road course.
Well, that's right. Even if just it gets the people to understand where the track is,
right,
and what other things are available, whatever their particular interest is, they can come back and know that it can take place on this track.
Well, anywhere that we can help you at In the Pits Racing Radio and use the power of NetSpray to get the word out for you guys over the next 6 months at this particular point.
Yeah.
And we'll put the challenge out there right now that we are out to spank everybody in the 24-hour limits.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, hey, I say bring it. We're going to have a NASA car, that we're going to stick some of the crew in. Ps.
There you go.
Are we doing themes with the cars, or do they have like?
Absolutely, you can definitely do themes. I think those are most certainly encouraged. You have less of a chance of being crushed if you've got an interesting theme, or one that's fun for everybody.
So maybe we should put a fin on the roof of this 240Z and make it look like a you know.
We'll have to think about that. We'll have to come up with something.
Our collective mindset in the pits is a very dangerous commodity.
Right.
So
right. Kind of like fourth graders getting together.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was graders, but fourth graders is probably a lot better. So we may have to get your sons involved, design the car. You know, make it out of Lego.
Sure.
So, but Chris, we certainly appreciate you as a friend of In the Pits Racing Radio, and always look forward to working with you guys. And
absolutely,
DC Auto Show coming up, et cetera, et cetera. Although that's the same weekend as the
Daytona 24. I'll get Daytona 24 with the Ferrari.
Yeah, and why don't you tell? Are you in a position where you can talk about that at this point, or you want to leak that out?
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, we have. I've been invited to drive in the Rolex GT for 2011. Not this 24 hours. We have a group of 5 Spec E30 drivers. That's the class that I run regularly at during the NASA, by which I'm 3-time national champion. And several of us sort of got together, and one of the drivers was a Ferrari Challenge car. He's the transition over to Rolex GT, and so we're going to run a couple of races, VIR and probably New Jersey Motorsports Park, and then also Daytona with Grand Am in 2010, and Daytona because it's a band of brothers that we've all thrown together. The basic idea being that there's always a question about pro racing versus amateur racing, and generally speaking, there are a lot of people who say, well, at any amateur given NASA weekend, there's talent on the track there is at any kind of pro road racing weekend. It's just the dollars are different.
And so we have a lot of different racing, and
and it's not just road racing. That's right.
Exactly, but there's a lot of criticism about that. But go ahead.
So we have the opportunity here where the gentleman he races Spec E30, but he also owns this car and put it into the mix, and so we're making a charge for the 24 hours of Daytona in 2011 with this Ferrari, and so it's
for a sportsman racer's idea to take that and put that kind of a program together. I think you'll inspire a lot of people and maybe have some other.
Well, isn't that how the whole sport evolved anyway?
It is.
And going back to grassroots, just to bring something else in and to take it forward again is absolutely. My hat's off to you for this. I mean, if you want me to stand at an intersection in North Virginia with a bucket collecting money so you guys can do it, I mean, I'm all about it. So.
All right, let's set up that appointment for next week.
Okay.
And we'll get you out.
As long as it doesn't snow, dude. I'll do it as long as it doesn't.
Sorry, we'll get you.
Actually, I'd probably be better off doing it right here at Universal Drive International. At least it's like 80 degrees outside, So, but good luck with that. That's an ambitious project, and I hope that absolutely works out for you guys, and we'll be there.
Oh, well, we look forward to seeing you. The car will actually be at the Grassroots Motorsports tent at Daytona 24. We'll have the car ready. We'll have it not almost in race, not in race condition completely, but it'll look like it. So we'd love anyone wants to come by and meet Mission Daytona team members and hang out at the Grassroots Motorsports tent. It'd be great.
And that's all basically Mid-Atlantic drivers that your.
The 5 drivers are all out of the Mid-Atlantic series. Yes.
Oh, cool. Very good.
Yep.
Well, Chris Capetto, good luck to you in 2010. Always a pleasure to see you face to face, and now we get to put your face up on the internet. That's
it's great. I hope as long as it's not in the post offices, I'm happy.
It's okay. Hey, In the Pits, powered by NetSpray, right here at the PRI Show in Orlando, Florida.